From a delivery driver to $3.2 million a year, here's how this couple turned their credit cards into a mac and cheese empire.
30 days is all it took to go from our first idea to our grand opening.
What?
We went from having just a customer every little while to a line going out the door here. We didn't know what hit us. Right now, we have over 50 locations signed to be open.
That's incredible. What's your secret sauce to going viral over and over and over and over again?
At this point, it really is just science.
How much are you spending on organic marketing?
So $0, a crazy reversal of marketing. We're getting paid to market.
All right, Frank, where are we and what are we doing today?
All right, so we are at the original ground zero location of Roni's Mac Bar. This is the one that started it all. They got us our start in social media and, really allowed us to start bringing mac and cheese to the masses.
There you go. And when did you start this location? When did it open up?
Yeah, we started this back in February of 22, so a good couple of years ago.
Awesome. I know you guys aren't open yet. What time are we opening up officially?
Yeah, so we open up for lunch at 11 a.m. Right now, we're about, an hour or two early from there. So we're getting all of our prep started and making sure we have enough food to cover everybody for the day.
I'd love to see how the cheese is made. You guys want to check it out?
Yeah. And the process really starts with getting some evaporated milk, throwing it together into a pot, putting our special blend of ingredients and whatnot to really get that proper flavor and consistency. And then we're gonna add some shredded cheese in there and really cheesy and thicken that thing up in just a minute here.
So what are you guys specifically doing here? How far have you come? Give us a little bit of a backstory.
So yeah, my whole life, honestly, I've been working in kitchens, just, didn't even know that I was learning all the things I was learning. Once I moved to the States and started really getting into the management side of things and the operations, I realized how fun this was. This is kind of my calling. So my background has been years and years of kitchen operations and restaurant management, operating multiple stores until one day, I realized all the people I was working for were just normal people. I'm like, they're not special. They're not like these big, untouchable, they're so different than everybody. I was like, well, I could do that. That's pretty easy. It's just another skill that you need to learn. And then social media just opened up a whole new world of things from there.
Which you guys rock at.
Yeah,
totally.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, curious to know about these self-serve kiosks.
Yeah.
What difference have they made in the business? What percentage of order comes through here as opposed to your wonderful team?
Yeah, so these have been a game changer for our business. 95% of our sales come through here. You can order at the front if you want, but most people do it here. And the best part of it is our ticket averages have gone way up. The reason being, they've got pictures on there, they've got upsells, there's a lot of things on there that maybe you didn't know just ordering with someone at the front that you're like, you know what, I'm gonna throw that on there too. That picture of the jalapenos looks great, let me do that. So these have really helped raise our ticket averages, not to mention the throughput. Instead of having one line as a bottleneck, we now have 4 cashiers that can take orders all the time.
For sure.
And we're able to throw that many more people through per hour. And so you pick your noodles, you pick your cheese.
Pepper jack's my favorite. And throw the bacon, why not? Life is good. Out of the $22.15, Frank, how much do you get to keep?
On something like this, where we put a lot of stuff in there, we're probably close to keeping about 70% of that. On some lighter orders, which is just plain cheese and stuff, it might even be closer to that, 85% range of what we keep.
So the profit margins with Roni's are quite high compared to an average restaurant.
I would say they're a little bit higher than what you would expect, from a mom and pop.
Right.
Especially as we scale, we're getting more into the big boy numbers where it's like, okay, we're able to keep things simple with our team here. We need a third of the crew that a lot of places need. So out of that 70% that we keep, we're able to pay our team and we're able to keep our take home in a nicer spot than we probably would have had we just only had the one spot and we're going traditional route of running a restaurant.
All right, talk to us about how you came up with Roni's concept. And more specifically, let's hone in on what makes a food business idea successful.
Yeah, in my opinion, we were looking for a food. We didn't know which one it was going to be until a friend mentioned his other friend that had a mac and cheese place. Turns out it was just a side on the menu. I thought he meant a mac and cheese. I was like, oh my God, that sounds great. So to me, it was having that aha moment of that sounds like a cool thing that I would go to. Now, how do you make it successful? And for us, it's, something that's familiar with the twist, something that, everyone knows about. You don't have to educate them on what the product is, but you throw your own twist on it so it's different from everyone else. And for us, that was a restaurant style, like Chipotle, Subway kind of deal. Everyone knows this. Everyone knows mac and cheese, but merging the two together was something new.
Any other advice for those watching who are just itching to start something and they want to go from idea to concept to realizing it?
I would say just do it. For us, it took us from the moment we realized, hey, I want to do a mac and cheese place to our grand opening, it was 30 days. That's all it took. And we just wanted to open. We want to fail fast. We want to learn what works, that we can figure out what didn't work in a much shorter period of time. So, I say for everyone looking to do it, just do it. You know, what's the worst that could happen? You know, you're probably not going to go homeless. You might just have to go back to that other job that you currently have. But we did it. We've never looked back.
By the way, Frank just released his viral marketing blueprint on the UpFlip Academy. So if you want to check it out, make sure to click the link in the description. We put the order in. Let's go make the meal. And I can't wait to try it as well.
Let's do it.
All right, before we make the bowl I just ordered, people fly from all over the world to try your mac and cheese, which is wild. It's crazy. Give us like one memorable experience that you just can share with us.
Yeah, you know, we had a guy come by that, you know, came from Japan, which is crazy. You know, they planned a whole road trip through the States dedicated to going to Roni's through there. He came here, he didn't look at the menu, he just pulled up and he's like, I need you to f me up. And I was like, okay. We're gonna do this. Threw together all the cheeses that we could, made it all the craziest bowl. He sat down the whole thing, so it was the best mac and cheese ever had. So,
customer from Japan, what'd you think of that?
Yeah.
Wow. All right, let's make me a bowl.
Cool.
I don't remember, we had the Gouda.
Of course, yep. So all bowls, we're gonna go mac and cheese.
You have different
And you want
sizes
the
as well.
Gouda?
So the small one or the large one? Okay.
You got it. This is my favorite cheese.
Wow. You don't joke around.
Not at all.
That's plenty.
Cool. So we're gonna mix this up for you. Do you have any meats you want to throw in there?
Let's do brisket. As always, throw some bacon in there.
Yep. The smokiness on those goes so well when it goes through the oven.
Do corn for sure, some green peppers.
Yeah. Green peppers. All right, we're gonna move on. We're gonna throw some cheese on.
You put more cheese on top?
Even more cheese, and we got even more if you want Parmesan.
Wow.
So throw some of that Gouda on top. Give
More
a nice
Gouda.
little sandwich of it.
I'll take a toast
garlic
as well.
bread as well.
So that's it, huh? It's making its way out. Let's go, baby.
It's coming out.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
Close
Starting to sizzle.
Close-up shot of the sizzle.
This is life in a bowl. That's what we sell.
The little pleasures.
Give it a nice little spin. We drizzle all the way.
Beautiful.
It's all about that presentation.
Let's talk about the startup cost. Give us the number, how you spent it, and any crazy stories with the initial days.
Yeah, so we had $20,000 on credit cards. So we're like, okay, if we're gonna do this, this is where we're gonna be able to get our cash from. We put it towards equipment for the most part. We had a little bit of a buffer at the end. We were like, okay, just in case. And it turned out we needed that just in case because our contractor didn't show up.
No way.
You know, we had a whole plan and we were 2 days away from grand opening and we needed to get something done quick. So we, very resourceful, had to go around town and find all the places that could help us build the counter, help us get the glass, all within 48 hours. It's a tough thing to ask people, but
that's crazy.
Having extra money to say, hey, I'll pay right now, all up front. You know, we were able to make that happen.
So give me more details on the 20K breakdown. Equipment, how much, and the rest.
So I would say for us, it was probably close to 12,000 on equipment. That's evolved over time, but for our initial setup, that's all we needed. Fail fast. You know, we realized, hey, we needed to improve. We can do that later on. Let's just get open. So about 12,000 went towards equipment. Some of that stuff went towards decor and, you know, some of the tables and all that. But for the most part, it was all that. Our initial food truck order was like $2,000. That really got us
Leaves you with
started.
$6,000 more. What about marketing?
As for, marketing was a big part of it. We had to, you know, throw in some ads. We had to get a couple things around town. Hey, you know, we're open. We had to spend some money on some of the back end stuff. Hey, get our logo, get our website and all that. So all those plus our rent, we had to pay up front a couple thousand right there. All in all, I think we landed around $18,000 or so right there. All right.
Is there any trick to doing it or just go
you just scoop in.
Just go all in?
Just go all in, pull up. And usually you can get some nice little strings coming from it. Look at that.
Oh yeah, that's a cheese bowl. Bon appetit.
Right?
Still doing a cheese bowl.
Never get tired of this.
Well, that's good. That's like soul food. Brings you back to when your mama's been making you this every morning or lunch or whatever.
In Canada, we grew up with mac and cheese as an entree, so
there we are.
Had to bring it here.
Can't stop eating it, but gotta get back to the questions. Yeah. That is, was business a success right away? What was your revenue like? Walk us through those.
Yeah, I mean, it was about as successful as you could expect. You know, a mom and pop opening up, you know, revenues were goodish, you know, 15, 20K, you know, projected for that month. And that's kind of what we started with, but that was pre-marketing or pre-anyone really knowing about us. So luckily, a couple weeks into, you know, us getting the hang of things, luckily and, you know, unluckily, we had a viral video that blew up. And this is when my wife and I were out of town. We went from having just a, you know, a customer every little while to a line going out the door here. We're like, oh my God, you know, our one employee is trying to keep up. You know, we're talking with them. Here's how to try and handle it, do this, do that. And we didn't know what hit us. You know, it was our first viral video. It never happened before, just by accident. So there's good and bad with the viral videos. The bad was, you know, the comments section. Which, you know, anyone on social media, you're gonna see some negative comments. And for us, it was our very first round of Ronies of what our product looked like and how we presented it. Comments were largely negative on that first video, which was tough to see. Yeah, you know, you see your baby that you put together and they're like, oh, well, to be fair, we didn't mix the cheese. You know, we didn't mix the cheese in. We didn't bake it through an oven. It really was just cold toppings going on.
Oh, wow.
It was like noodles, cheese layer, cold toppings, here you go. And now that I look back at it, it wasn't the best product in the world, but comment section, whatever they see that is slightly wrong, they're gonna blow it up way, way more than it needs to be. So instead of us defending it in the way that I probably sound like I am now, I agree. It was a pretty bad product, and we could have either gone the route of, they don't know what they're talking about, this is our business, we're gonna stick with it, we're the business owner, screw you. Or, okay, what can we change to then, if we go viral again, we don't have these negative comments. So, you know, we got an oven, we upgraded our ingredients, we changed our operations and how we do things. And, you know, we were able to knock out viral video after viral video once we figured out how to do it. It turned it into a science.
All right, blitz time with Frank. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, favorite restaurant besides your own?
Taco Bell. I get that almost daily.
Oh, cool. What surprised you most about entrepreneurship?
Got him. Yeah, you got me on that one. What surprised me most about entrepreneurship? I would say the personal growth that comes along with it, and the you know, the viewpoint that there's a lot more that can be done in one person's lifetime.
All right, what's the worst entrepreneurship advice you've ever had or heard?
Wait until you're ready.
It's awful advice. What's the first thing you do when you wake up?
Go through 3 things I'm gonna do that entire day. Just, you know, write down a bullet point. Hey, I need to get these 3 things done before I go to sleep. If it's done, it's a win. If it's not done, I stay up till 4 a.m. to do it.
Okay, are you a morning person or night owl?
Definitely a night owl.
Definitely. Okay. What's your let's see, what's your all-time favorite TV show or movie?
South Park, TV show, movie, Interstellar.
Nice. My man, I love Interstellar.
Hell yeah.
All right, last one. If you weren't in the food business, what would you be doing instead?
I would be in a rock band.
Rock band. Oh, yeah.
Frank's recipe for success starts with doing things differently right from the start. But even the best recipes fall apart without the right ingredients. And while properly setting up your business is essential, most services act like the store-bought Mac, full of bland, overpriced ingredients you can't pronounce and didn't ask for. But with Busy, you can set your business up for success on day one by using a service that's built differently, with clear pricing, no hidden subscriptions, and one simple upfront fee for everything from LLC formation to compliance tracking. Busy gives you exactly what you need to cook up a successful business. No more, no less. Because they're privately held and 100% bootstrapped, Busy answers to you, not to investors. So where other services rely on hidden subscriptions and pointless fees to boost their bottom lines, Busy passes the savings directly onto you. With perks like a free registered agent with every formation for your first year and ongoing support through Busy Tax, they've helped over 1 million entrepreneurs not just start businesses, but grow them. So if you're ready to whip up your own business success story, click the link in the description and start today with Busy.
What's your advice to somebody who's looking to start a business but is very, very limited on cash?
You know, my answer is there's money everywhere. You know, there's what, $80 trillion or something in the world. You know, you need a very tiny percentage of that to do whatever your dream might be. You know, you could go the bad route, credit cards. You know, there's money, easy money you can get there, just knowing that, hey, I'm going to pay off that bill with the money I get from it. It's not just throw it on there and forget it. You know, there's investors, there's other people around that you can pull together that are looking for ways to make more money on that. They give you 30,000, they make back 35, whatever it might be. You win. I'd rather pay 5,000 to start my business and pay that back over a couple of years than not have a business at all.
Money's out there, so it sounds like a mindset shift.
100%.
Right?
If you think I can do this, then you just start thinking, okay, how do I do that? What are the steps to get there? And then you start actually putting things into action.
All right, let's go check out the new place. Tell us a little bit about that before we go.
Yeah, 100%. So we needed a flagship location that we could show to franchisees and new investors, like, hey, this is what Aroni's looks like. This is tiny. It's 200 square feet. Not a lot you can do. This new one, way more space, way more pristine, and this is what Aroni's is going to be like in the future.
Awesome. Let's go drive over.
Do it.
All right, Frank, heading to your new location. Can you share the year-over-year revenue for the location that we just left, which is your first corporate location?
I mean, the first year we started, obviously nobody knew who we were, you know, until the video started going viral and we started learning our systems and learned how to actually, you know, go out there and market. First year, I think we did under half. We were like, you know, 400,000 and a little bit in sales. Pretty good, you know, for a small business. You know, they just started, right? after that, that's when we started building our marketing team. Is towards the end of that year, and we started actually going crazy on the social media and tripling, if not quadrupling, the amount of content we're putting out. And we saw a huge increase. We went from 400-ish to a little bit over 700,000.
Wow.
In that second year, I mean, most restaurants are growing 10% if you're doing well.
Yeah.
For us to grow that much, we're like, man, there's a lot going here.
You hit the jackpot.
Yeah, we hit the jackpot. That's how we felt, And so from there, we opened up several other stores within driving distance of here. So obviously, they cannibalized a little bit, and we were still up in year 3. We were close to 8,000 or 800,000. So
where are you at for 25?
25, yeah, just for that location, we're on track to be around that. We've opened so many more stores since then, but we're on track to still beat the last year. So every year we always want to be better. If we can hit that 10% growth, great. We're always looking to shoot well past it. If we can get to 900 this year, I'll be very happy.
That's pretty cool for one location. I mean, there's a certain level ceiling you reach, and that's kind of the max you can get out of that one location.
Yeah, I mean, there's a market share that you gotta try to look into, but there's always more people to get it.
All right, as we're heading to the new location, excited to check that out.
Yeah.
Let's go back a little bit and talk to us about the moment when you had to quit your job, overcome self-doubt. What was that like? What really helped you tip the scale a little bit?
It was a big change for us, a big scary thing. I think every entrepreneur goes through that. The thing that really tipped me over the side was, I saw the future that I wanted. I knew that what I was working towards in my career wasn't going to get me where I wanted. I've always wanted bigger and better and, a lot for my family, and, it just wasn't going to cut it. So the only path forward was owning a successful business. That was the only way we were going to do it. So that got us to getting started, really. From there, there's I didn't have a mentor. A lot of people always say, get a mentor, find someone. That's great. I didn't have one, except for YouTube. I had a lot of YouTube mentorship from, a lot of big names on there that really helped me come up with the systems and the ways that, I would have spent years trying to learn on my own. They've already found the shortcuts, and I was able to learn a lot from there. And that built up my confidence to go do it myself.
Let's talk about mindsets that entrepreneurs should have in order to succeed, to stand out from the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of risk-taking, but calculated risk in the sense that you don't want to just risk everything on something that, isn't going to work out, but you also don't want to spend all your time trying to figure out if it's going to work out. You got to fail fast, and you got to be comfortable with the uncomfortable and go into the growth mindset. And the growth mindset really is just, you got to put some risk to make some gain. Amazon, for example, they've got a whole budget that goes into FU money. Basically, they put money into, stuff that we don't expect to make a return on this, and they always make a return on it.
Yeah. Wow, so this is your new flagship store.
This is it.
So much bigger than the other one.
It's huge.
What prompted the move, Frank?
Compensation. Once we started looking at all of the other locations that we were opening up, we're like, okay, the extra space really makes a huge difference. And having a 200 square foot unit like the one that we were just at is great. It can get the job done, but it's not as efficient. It's not able to let us do what we know we can do. So having a big spot like this is really going to help open us up to a lot of opportunities and really act as a flagship for other franchisees coming in to be like, this is what Aronis looks like. That is not necessarily what Aronis is.
What's the initial cost? Let's take a look at the 3D too as well.
For sure, yeah. So the initial cost on this guy is, here's the 3D mock-up. We go into all these like, okay, how can we keep costs low while keeping quality high? And we have a very simple build out. So a lot of places coming into things like this, you're looking at over $1 million for a lot of build-outs, at least $500,000, some $2 million, But there is TI. We got $100,000 from the landlord that's, putting into the buildings.
Good to get their participation.
Our costs on it, about $250,000.
Oh, wow.
And what makes it Aronis is the equipment that we use and the people that are there. We're a very simple operation, so we don't need the fryers. We don't need the hood vents that you add on another $100,000. So it's pretty basic build it. I can show you around here if you'd like.
Obviously, a lot more overhead at this location. What are you projecting, and then as far as revenue as well?
So overhead here, obviously we're in a prime location. We got a lot of traffic, and we're in a big, beautiful building, so overhead's a little bit higher. We're looking at about $10,000 to $12,000 a month just on the overhead side of things, but the revenues that we're projecting to bring in is more going to pay for that. We're looking at this one doing about 1.2. Plus, we think this is going to bring in some future revenues with franchises that we're able to bring in a lot more easily than showcasing the old store.
Gotcha. Okay, so this is going to be the flagship, not only from a show perspective, but you've got your office here, corporate setting essentially?
Yeah, this is our headquarters in the back there. A lot of our work that we do right now is in a very busy, distracting food hall like you just saw.
Yeah.
So being able to move that to an office here where we can set up a permanent recording station, we can set up actual meetings and whiteboards and do the stuff that we get very distracted and it's hard to do right now, we'll actually have a spot for a team to be able to come in and do their thing as best as they can.
What did you learn from the first location that you've implemented here in terms of efficiency, the build out, anything that's worth highlighting?
I mean, you know, we started that first location not knowing what we needed to learn. So going from, you know, elbow to elbow with, you know, everything being so tight knit and close to each other, we're like, we need some more room to be able to actually work fast. We need to be able to put more people in there because we can't fit enough people in the hall that we need. So going into a spot like this opened it up a lot more. We're able to have 2 lines, which is something that's going to make it 10 times easier for caterings or big orders, especially having a drive-through. We knew that we're not going to have the service times that we really want with only 1 line. So we're going to have 2 ovens, 2 cold wells,
2 copies of each. Okay.
Plus a giant area in the back where we can store a lot more things at once. So we don't need to do a food order every 2 or 3 days. We can do 1 a week, have it back here and keep efficiency as best as it can be.
Guys, if you're enjoying this episode, take a second, like and subscribe. It's not only a huge pat on the back for our team, but also helps us bring on more incredible guests like Frank.
Thank you.
All right, let's go do a tour. Show me the prep area.
Let's check it.
All right, so what space is this?
Yeah.
How are you using it?
So this is the main office. This is going to be for corporate franchising and as a break room for the employees that work at the store. But we're hoping to treat this as the business center of Roni's corporate.
Nice. So much success, so quick. Why go franchising? Why not go at it yourself?
Yeah, I think it's because of the speed of it. So there's 2 options. You can either grow corporate, keep all the profit yourself, or you can franchise and you grow a lot faster, but you only get a small percentage of the sales. So, you know, both are viable, you know, options for us. The reason we went with franchising is because if we didn't have the social media that we had, we'd probably grow, you know, to the next town over, get the word of mouth in that town and grow like that from one single point. Our social media, that we have just as many followers in New York as we do Washington, as ever else. And the comments all the time, when are you gonna open here? When are you gonna open here? So, you know, we want to strike right now while all the eyes are on our brand. Franchising is a way to open us up to the capital that the franchisees bring in. They get to run those stores without us having to put our team, you know, and spread out our team too thin.
Yeah.
So we're able to have a smaller corporate team to be able to support them. It was a win-win for everybody.
How many locations do you have now? What should a franchisee expect in terms of revenue, whatever you can share?
Yeah.
And what makes Roni's different?
Yeah, so great question. Number of franchises coming out. We've got over 50 locations signed, which is awesome for only doing it for about a year.
That's crazy.
You know, we're cranking them out. We got 3 more coming up this next month as grand openings. But in terms of revenue that they can expect legally due to franchise laws, I can't go over to those numbers without getting a legal document for any guys called an FDD.
Makes sense.
We're trying to keep the store that we were just at as the baseline. But if anyone is interested in franchising, just reach out to us and we'll get that paper in front of you. We can talk a little bit more openly about the specific numbers and expectations.
What makes you different? Touch on that.
So what we try to always give a lot more value than what we bring in. And right now, what that looks like is for the first 6 months of operations, if that person doesn't hit $200,000 in sales, then we're going to reinvest that franchise fee that you initially pay to us right back into you. Whether that's, hey, we're going to buy you a new plate, we're going to
give
get
you
a new
boost.
GM, we're going to give you a giant boost of marketing. So we don't want anyone to ever have buyer's remorse, because you know that money, if you're not making it, we're just coming right back to you. So
If learning more about Frank and his journey makes you want to own your own Roni's franchise, just know that UpFlip viewers like yourself have access to a truly special deal. Seriously, I've never heard of anything like that, so I highly encourage you to check out the link in the description to learn more about the special bonus for UpFlip viewers. When it comes to systems, what's one powerful system that you've implemented and recommend all franchisees to follow?
yeah, I'm very passionate about this, but if you have the time, look up something called OKRs, objectives and key results. And really, it just helps you focus on one thing at a time. You know, franchisors, you've got a lot of things happening at once. You've got a lot of teams under you, and you've got a lot of franchisees, and you have a lot of projects that you're working on at once. So who knows what to focus on? OKRs align the entire company towards one goal. You do this monthly or quarterly, and it's helped us stay on track and actually hit goals instead of just taking 6 months to get a little bit of progress on each thing.
Yeah, let's go check out the prep area. Quite different from the original
Way different,
location, and discuss a little bit about how you create content and so on.
For sure.
How much are you spending on organic marketing, and how big is your team?
Yeah, so $0. You know, we're not spending anything on
Really?
organic. It really is, you know, just us on a phone throwing it up there. We actually get paid to be on these platforms. It's a crazy reversal of marketing. We're getting paid to market. So that's allowing us to pay for the team that we have. We've got, you know, a few full-time people. We've got a marketing director, a branding coordinator. We've got a brand person for the brand page. We've got 2 people right now that are helping each individual store, and the social media pays for it. I mean, the last week, I think.
What do you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, the last week, I'm pretty sure we made almost $4,000 just on, you know, TikTok and a little bit of YouTube throughout the whole month. I mean, it's definitely paying for everything we're doing, plus a little bit more that we can reinvest back into the business.
Wow.
Give us a step-by-step blueprint. What's your secret sauce?
Yeah, so, you know, we look at the funnel where everyone's going. How are we going to grab the people's attention? But attention isn't everything. We got to direct them somewhere. So knowing how to get their attention, knowing how to retain their attention, knowing how to direct them somewhere, knowing how to convert them from where you sent them, that's been a big game changer for us. Whether it's customers coming into our stores or franchisees, you know, there's different ways to really get their eyes on it, much more than just the viral video. But that's step one, getting the eyes on your brand.
What about step 2 and 3? I know there's probably a lot involved. What do you want to highlight?
So you know, we look at step 1, which is get the content out there, get the people looking at it, and get them knowing what your brand is. You know, do that multiple times. They see us 3-4 times, great. They might click on our profile. From there, you know, you look at the link in the profile, it goes right to the franchising page, or it might go right to the ordering page, whatever platform or whatever demographic we're pushing these towards. From there, you get on a very specific landing page that outlines very, very key things that we want to make sure we hit in terms of, at this point in the page, we want to do our call to action. At this point in the page, we want to do this. Stuff that we've spent a lot of time trying to figure out what gets the most clicks. You know, I've had tons of people ask me, you know, how we grew so quickly, how they can replicate that at their business. And I was getting tired of all the phone calls and meetings. It was taking up a lot of my time. So I recorded a bunch of stuff and, you know, put together a big package that goes over the tactics, the secrets, and really the keys to our success here at Roni's Mac Bar that really allowed us to do that in such a small time frame. And honestly, I do think it is a part of the UpFlip Academy for students there.
It is available. If you guys want Frank's complete social media playbook, it is available in the UpFlip Academy. We'll make sure to leave the link in the description below. Let's get out of here, go back to the original location, and see how you guys create the content.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'll follow you. All right, so this is the sneak peek of basically this is what you do daily or very often, creating content.
This is what we do every day. Yeah, multiple times a day. A little white light means we're recording, so
those are so dope.
Let's go ahead and make a bowl. Cool. So all I do is I try and get it close to the camera, and the reason we do it like this is because I can do this 100 times a day. So I get 100 times I can make content, which is a good secret of ours in terms of doing quantity. You want to find something that you can repeat yourself. You got extra cheese on this one. That's what he wanted.
Oh, bro.
So
heart attack coming.
That's right. In
from
a bowl.
all the goodness.
So next time you get nice and close.
Okay.
Customers sometimes think I'm smelling the food because it smells so good, but it looks good on our camera.
That is crazy that you're filming with those glasses.
Right? Hands free. To me, I don't even realize I'm doing anything different.
Now this is our main camera guy's meal right
This
here.
is the camera guy's meal right here. He wanted brisket,
some
tomatoes, but he got something that is very controversial.
Uh-oh, what is
that
it?
A lot of people are gonna probably hate on, which is right after here, we're gonna throw on my favorite topping, pineapples. These guys
Oh, there they are.
cause quite a bit of a stir anytime we put them on
In the
video.
mac and cheese
In the
empire?
mac and cheese, yeah. Have you ever tried mac and cheese on pizza?
No.
Highly worth it, in my opinion. All right, final thing, we'll throw on some shakers, some Parmesan and breadcrumbs.
Does it matter what you say when you're creating your content, or or you're gonna do a voiceover anyway?
I'm gonna do a voiceover anyways.
I see. So this is just the footage.
This is just the footage. You know, I'll usually say quiet because I like the background noise, kind of bring people into the experience of hearing the scoops and all that go around.
Yeah.
But afterwards, I just sit at home with my phone or sit in the car, go through it, do the voiceover, takes a minute. We can knock out a whole video in 30 minutes, and then we just do that a couple times a day.
So it's giving people this sort of immersive experience, right? What it's like to be behind the counter.
Just do our normal job. We go through it, we film it, and we're done. We just try, you know, and bring, like you said, the customer into it. They get to see it from behind the scenes, which is a view that they never see. So it's like familiar with the twist, right? And that's kind of been our philosophy, and it's worked so far.
So from delivering pizzas to owning restaurants, did you expect to be where you are today?
I never really knew, you know, I knew I always wanted to be in charge of a big group of people where I can make a difference in the restaurant industry. Never knew how that was going to be until, you know, we started looking at, hey, business ownership is something that we could actually do. And ever since then, I have this vision. You know, we're going to have 1,000 stores in 10 years. I know we're going to get there. So where we are today, I think we expected it from the beginning of the business ownership journey. Before that, it just took that one step to know, hey, this is the path that we want. And from there, it's just to set your goal and get to it.
If you don't mind me asking, what are you paying yourself right now as a business owner? And then what has entrepreneurship allowed you as far as expenses, toys, things like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. You know, from the very beginning, we always wanted to be, very mindful of our spend. And, the focus right now is our business. We're in growth mode. So for the lifestyle that we have right now with our dogs and all that, I'm happy with 50,000. So we only pull out 50,000 a year. That's what pays our bills. We could do more. I'd rather that more go into the team and into the growth of the business. So right now, that's where it's all at. As for the personal side of things, something fun. 10 years ago, I thought the coolest car in the world was a Tesla. That was my goal.
Nice.
And once I set that goal, 2 years ago, I was like, I just want a Tesla. It's a cool car. I ended up getting a Tesla. So
now you got the Cybertruck.
And we got two. We got the Cybertruck, and it's been a fun journey with these cars, and they help us with a lot of things catering wise. That truck is probably the best thing you could have for catering, with the plugs and all the features that come with it that you can't get in other trucks. It's the reason we got it. And outside of the political landscape of the person that owns it, the truck itself is a beast for catering. So
for sure. Thank you, Elon. Looking back, is there anything you do differently? And what's your advice to people who want to get into the restaurant business in general? Yeah, I mean, that's low margins, a lot of work. What do you tell them?
It is a lot of work. Don't go into it expecting you're going to do nothing. The goal for every entrepreneur that goes into it is, hey, I want to work less than I currently am at my 9 to 5, and I want to make more money. But the reality is you work a hell of a lot more and you make a hell of a lot less money. Especially at the beginning, you're setting that foundation. So go into it with the expectations that you're building something long-term. Don't try and get that big short-term, because you're going to set yourself up for failure. But focusing on the systems, focusing on scalability from the very beginning, that was something that we really, really focused on. Was, even though we haven't even opened it, how will this work across 1,000 stores? And having that has really helped us grow a lot faster, because we don't have to worry about the little issues that come along with, staying small. We already had that figured out from the very beginning.
I love it. What's one thing that you would do differently if you could go back as early as you chose to in your life?
Honestly, I wouldn't change a thing. It's gotten us to where we are now, so I'm happy with that. However, if there was someone in my shoes that was, listening to this now, that was in that same stage that I was, or even before, when I was leaving college, I would say just get over the fear and just start it. Putting 99% into a side gig will never be as good as that extra 1% to put in your everything into getting that business up and running. And that's what it took for us to get to success. It wasn't just working our way to it. I had to go in and it's like, I got to do this or else we're not going to have rent to pay at the end of the month. That's what really drove me.
Motivated at first by paying bills, obviously. How did you get past your fear specifically? Was it your spouse encouraging you and pushing you, or what else kind of helped you make that leap?
Her definitely pushing. It was at a point where COVID was happening. She ended up not having the gig that she was supposed to have it was at a hotel chain, and they all shut down. So she decided to start her own side gig of doing the dessert that we talked about, and seeing the success from that and being like, okay, this is an actual future that's viable. The only fear was the monetary one of how are we going to pay our bills. And when we did the math, it was just a numbers game. It wasn't a feeling. It was, if I can put X amount of hours per week into this gig, we will be able to make our rent.
Yeah.
And that's all it took. I saw the numbers. Great, let's try it. If it didn't work out, I can go back into another restaurant. It's not the end. I'm not going homeless, but having that motivation of this is the only thing to bring in money right now, and if it works, it can really pay off. That's what really brought us to the top.
So you guys are in business together as a husband-wife duo. How do you handle disagreements? What's it like working together?
Yeah.
Give us a little insight.
At the beginning, it was for sure, a struggle. You both are the top dog of this business, and I have an idea, she has a slightly different idea. We don't know which one's best, but like, which one do we try, right? And that's kind of the struggle there. The solution around that we found works great is we have our own lanes right now that we work in. Anything tech support or whatever, I'm on top of that department. All answers go through me. I come up with the things. HR stuff, branding, that's Mary. Anything that's like that, she has full control over that stuff. So having our own lanes and sticking to them has helped. We don't have any disagreements with anything because we're in charge of our own spot.
Do you think anybody can become a millionaire? Like, what does it take?
I think anybody can become a millionaire. I mean, I always wanted to be a millionaire, but it took me actually thinking, okay, it's actually possible for me to become one. The mindset of everyone is that it's just so difficult. It's so unattainable. It's this big number. And the only reason it's a big number is because they've been told their whole lives, $1 million is a big number. Once you get into business and you start seeing the numbers that people are actually making out there, $1 million is not that big of a number, and I'm not trying to, downplay anyone in any sort of situation, I get it, but the money's out there. And for the people that have a path forward and know it's in their future to get that money, you're going to be able to find a way to get it. And it really is, if you have a goal, what's 10 times that? Work towards that. It's very unlikely you're not going to hit that initial goal that you had.
For sure.
If you could recommend one book that all our viewers should read, what would it be and what's one takeaway?
I'm going to say the E-Myth Revisited. That's the one that started our journey. And, the takeaway for me was just getting the scalable systems from the get-go. And that's changed the game for us because it just makes scaling and growing 10 times easier than if you're trying to figure it out as you go.
It's incredible because we hear this recommendation almost all the time.
Really?
But the book is from what, the 80s,
That's
90s?
an old one. Yeah,
It is an
they've
old
done
one.
some revisions of it and
Yeah.
updated it. And there's a very modern version of it now.
That's cool that it's still so practical
Yeah.
and applicable today.
100%.
All right, you guys do a lot of split testing. So what are some unexpected changes that you guys have made that brought unbelievable results?
Yeah, split testing is huge across ads or anything, but for us, we really look at, what little changes are going to add up to a big one. And one big one for us, when we first opened, our menu was split into two. We had a build your own menu and we had a pre-made bowl menu, whereas like you order the Texas barbecue and it comes with pre-made toppings, same price. But something that we found was the customers that ordered the pre-made menu came back less often than the people that built their own. So being able to have that data and split between the two menus allowed us to pick which menu we were going to stick with. And this was an early decision. We didn't know which way we were going to go. So we tried both. And that helped us get some more repeat customers. And same thing with our content. If we try a video that has a hook a certain way, first couple seconds of the video we say something, it gets a certain number of views. If we change 1 or 2 words on it, try it again a couple weeks later, all of a sudden we got a lot more views. Great, we're gonna stick with that on the next one.
I want to go back to split testing real quick. If I'm in a different industry, how can I implement that in my business and find what works best, that delivers best results, and so on?
Yeah, I think a great way across any industry you could do this is with pricing. Having a higher price might have less people order from you, but you might be getting better quality people, but you also might be giving them a better quality result, bigger word of mouth, and you have that more profit margin to give them more value for what they're actually paying you. Or you could try dropping the price a little bit. I don't recommend it. I always, say, go for the value over the cheapness.
Yeah.
But playing with price is one thing that you can definitely do in any business that you can split test. Try a couple customers here, try a couple customers there while you're starting out. Figure out what works best, what brings them back more, and in your long term, what's going to bring you the most gain.
When it comes to systems, Frank, what's the most helpful when it comes to day-to-day operations of a business?
I'd say day-to-day in the store, having checklists is a must. There's some restaurants that just hire on that smart chef that's done it, or hire on a GM that just knows how to do it and they're there every day. That's not very scalable. We look at scalable systems that we can apply at every single store and have it work the same at every single store versus very specific to that store.
Absolutely.
So finding things that are scalable, finding checklists that you can put in place and spending the time focusing on the checklist and the system, and then following up with the team, making sure that they're following it, is a lot easier and scalable than just finding the perfect team member that's going to be able to do that on their own.
How do you plan on maintaining service quality? A lot of locations are popping up. 50 is your goal, right? By what, end of next year? Incredible. What are some SOPs you want to highlight and how to maintain that?
So we focus on the employee experience. We give them as many tools and ways to grow and make them extremely happy to work at Roni's. Not only does that help increase retention and, have a happy employee, which is a great thing, but it also helps them want to do well for the customers. They're happier to talk to the customers, and the happier they are at work and the more they enjoy their job, the happier those customers are going to be. So we focus fully on the employee experience, which as a byproduct brings up that customer experience and helps our online reviews.
Any SOPs that kind of stand out? They're like, hey, if it wasn't for this, everything would kind of crumble a little bit.
There's 3 reasons that, someone isn't doing what you want them to do. Either they don't know what to do, they don't know that you want them to do it, or they don't know how to do it. So really training, focusing on those 3 things gets rid of 90% of the issues that we have. Now, the final ones come down to management, having skilled managers, but teaching those managers how to manage is a big part of it. Coming at situations very objectively and not with judgment, where it's like, here's the behavior that you're doing that is problematic. Here's the behavior that we want to see in this position.
Right.
Here's how to get there. Those 2 methods have really helped us grow as a company and really helped us manage our team in a way that's very scalable and helps emphasize the employee experience, which then raises the customer experience.
Yeah. Did you always want to be an entrepreneur? Share with us your evolution there.
I think I did, but I didn't know it. So like in college, for example, I had a business where I'd make websites for other people and, kind of build stuff like that. But it was just to make money. It wasn't because I wanted to be an entrepreneur. It turns out that's pretty much the entrepreneurial way. So when I started going through restaurants, I was like, okay, I could be the top dog at different restaurant chains, blah, blah, blah. It was never in my mind, I'm going to own my own restaurant one day, until my wife put that seed in my mind and, she wanted to do it. And that's really what pushed us to be like, you know what, wait, that's the answer. That's what I've been doing my whole life. I just didn't realize it. So I guess I've always worked towards being one, just not knowing it.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Winning location. Share with us what you look for, especially now as the franchise is growing. People are wondering where should we be and why.
Yeah, a lot of people rely on us, especially franchisees, to pick the right location. So it comes down to a couple of things. Obviously, location is important, but what does that mean? We use something called Locate AI. And what it does is it's a heat map based on your demographic. You pick and choose the genders, the ages, the psychographics, and you can, this is all for free. You can see a heat map of where all these things are going to be. And then you can pick and choose based on, do you want to be near this demographic versus, it's not population. Population can be all over here, then maybe all of your demographic is right here. So we can find where the demographic is, and then we can look at traffic counts. Be like, okay, maybe there's 2 spots where the demographic is. If we want to drive through, maybe we want to be in the spot in between them where they're all driving. So for us, we look at population, density, traffic count. But when it comes to the actual building itself, great, you're in the area. But when you're looking for an actual location, we're looking for something that's high visibility. We don't want to be tucked away in the middle of a plaza where no one's really going to see us, because if we've learned anything from social media, if they don't know about you, they're not going to come. You can have the best product in the world, but if nobody knows about it, they're not going to try it until you really build up that word of mouth. So a shortcut is just to really focus on getting your name out there, which could be signage, could be being right by the where everyone's walking, could be a building where everyone's driving by. So just getting as many eyeballs on you as possible and then working from there.
If you have to start a social media account for a business today with like $500 to your name, how would you go viral?
Cool. I would pocket the $500 and say thank you, and I would just stick with everything I already have that's free. It's so easy. You take a phone, you just film what you're doing in your day-to-day job and post it online. Just do that a bunch of times. You're going to find something that works. If I were going to start a new one, let's say it was a lawn care company, I would just get my phone, set it up on a tripod, cut some people's lawns, and do a voiceover talking over it at the end of the day and just talk people through my process. And you're gonna have a lot of flops. You're gonna post for a whole month and get no traction. Then all of a sudden one video is gonna do pretty well. That one video, you're gonna be like, oh, this actually brings in some leads. I'm gonna revise that and make it a little bit better. And eventually you're gonna be able to knock out a viral video every week.
So there's no like go viral book how-to, right? Do you really know what's going to go viral and what's not?
It's so funny because there's so many videos that will spend so much effort and money and time, and you're getting all this perfect video for it to be one of our worst viewed videos of the whole month. And then we throw up a stupid one that we're like,
no planning,
we just off the cuff throw something together, throw it up, and that gets 30 million views. So we're like, okay. So our method is, we know 3 out of every 100 videos that we post is going to go viral. We call viral 1 million or more views. And that's just on one platform. So, out of 100 videos are probably going viral 10 to 12 times in a month. And, it really is a numbers game. We go through, hey, this one's probably going to go viral. It might not, though. You're swinging at the bat. You might have the hardest swing in the world, but it doesn't mean you're going to connect with the ball. But, doing that a number of times, you're eventually going to hit it right on the head. You maybe posted it at just the right time, just the right...
That's true. Time is everything.
Type of people saw it. So one video you could post one day, not go viral. You could post again a week later, it goes viral. There's a lot of different factors in it, but just getting the video out there is the only thing that's going to ensure that you might have a viral video. You got to post.
How do you handle stress? Can't avoid it.
Yeah.
So how do you kind of let some steam off?
Yeah. No matter how big you get, there's just new sets of problems. You're always going to be having stress thrown at you. For me, really being able to focus on one thing at a time has really alleviated a lot of that. So before, you got fires all over the place, you got people asking you stuff, you've got issues here, this needs to be fixed. That's very stressful, especially as the head of the company where everyone's looking at you to be the guiding light. Being able to turn that into, hey, that fire, it's going to put itself out eventually, or I can get to it. But right now, our biggest fire is this, focusing on that big rock. The big thing that's going to make the biggest change in the company, get it done fully, move on to the next one, move it on, has allowed me and the team to just focus on one thing and only worry about that instead of worrying about all the other stresses that aren't going to move the needle as much.
So are certain gadgets helping you kind of?
Yes.
Software, what do you want to?
100%. Yeah. So, you can go as basic as a spreadsheet. You don't need to get fancy. We use something called Monday.com. It's kind of a CRM, but really we use it as a hub for everything. We track everything on there. We know what we're working on next. The biggest thing that's helped me a lot is something called Reclaim, basically an AI calendar. And all of my to-do lists go into this little app, and it schedules it out all my calendar for me, so I can get the little things done that still need to get done while scheduling time for me to work on those big things.
I'll have to check them out.
Yeah.
What are some mistakes that you've seen other entrepreneurs make?
It's a good question. I think there's a lot of emphasis on profits and not so much emphasis on sales. There's all this fear going into owning a business. So you're always looking at your profit margin. How am I going to make my rent this month? I got to save here and there. But really for us, we found the secret was that's important, but you got to focus on growing the sales, grow what you can pull from versus trying to save your way to $1 million. I'd rather grow myself there. It's a lot easier to grow to that and have a slightly worse food percentage cost than to lower your food percentage costs and save a couple $100s there, or you grow 10,000 in sales and all of a sudden you're making way more than you would have saved.
Right,
So
like you
focusing
said-
on the top line.
Like you said, the bigger slice of the watermelon as opposed
Yeah,
to...
I'd rather, a
good.
slice of a watermelon than 100% of a grape. Yeah,
That's good. Yeah, do you want the grape or the big watermelon slice?
that's right.
Question for you. What's the last piece of advice you'd like to leave our viewers with?
Yeah.
Anything.
I mean, honestly, I would say whatever it is you want to do, there's a way to do that. Everything that I've ever wanted, I've always been held back by the idea that, that's someone else does that, or, it's going to be too hard to do that. I don't know how to do that. Turns out when you actually want to do something and you can envision yourself doing it, and, you start finding ways to get to it. Some people call it manifesting, others it's prayer. Anything you want in life, you can do. Anything I've ever wanted, I found a way to get to it, and turns out it was a hell of a lot easier than I originally thought. So there's a lot of fear blocking a lot of people from doing the things that they really want to do. If you get past that and realize, hey, I can actually do that, there's really not much stopping you.
Awesome. All right, if you want to harness the power of social media for your business, you've got to check out episode 222 with Kada, who made $100,000 within 30 days of posting on TikTok. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.